Tom Brady was way better than Peyton ever thought about being. In the end, in the biggest picture, just way better. I'm sorry, he just was.
Tom Brady, who I think is almost universally, outside of my partner Rob Parker, he's pretty much universally recognized as the GOAT quarterback.
I'd much rather go against Tom Brady every day of the week than to go against Peyton Manning.
That's how you feel.
I believe that's how everybody feels.
I mean, I don't know that all defense players would agree with what he's saying.
That's kind of preposterous to say every defender would say they'd rather play Tom than Peyton. Like, come on now. I would go against Peyton. I had more success against Peyton on the teams than individually. So
I think personally, I like Peyton Manning big time. I'd probably rather catch footballs from Tom Brady.
Why?
It's a lot easier. The balls, the rotation of the ball is pinpoint accuracy. All of those sort of things to me.
He could manage a game just as brilliantly as Peyton.
So all these Jedi mind tricks we're talking about with Peyton Manning, and he was the GOAT at that for a while, but Brady's been doing that recently, like over the last 8 to 10 years when Manning's been out of the game. You talk to teams, you talk to players now, that you ask them who's the best at like pre-snap reading the defense and winning with your mind, and they all think Brady's the best. And so, he was the wizard now, doing it late in his career, putting those mind tricks on Peyton Manning.
The harder you look at it, the better Tom gets.
Tom is the most productive and the most efficient quarterback ever.
You can't tell me that Tom Brady doesn't take advantage of a defense that's in a bad situation.
Tom Brady is considered the GOAT.
And you consider him the GOAT. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
how can you not with 7 Super Bowls?
Right.
Right? I mean, how can you not? At a certain point, you just arguing to argue.
You just
But
You hear that, Rob?
Brady, one of his hallmarks is execution.
Yes.
If you give him a crevice, he will deliver every time.
So why then, if Peyton was playing chess to everybody else's checkers, why was he only 2-2 in Super Bowls? And why in Indy for those many years did he waste high seed after high seed with shocking first-round
Belichick.
Oh.
Belichick.
Oh, interesting. I'm looking at 3 of these that did not involve Belichick because I'm looking at 99. They were the 2 seed. They lost a home game, their first playoff game. These are with bye weeks.
I think they lost to the Jets.
They lost to the Titans. In 99.
Oh, yeah.
And then in 05, they're the 1 seed, and they lost at home to the Steelers that was Roethlisberger,
yeah.
Then in
Jack missed the field goal that would have tied the game.
Okay. In 07, they were the 2 seed, and they lost their first round home playoff game to the Chargers.
So in other words,
so the chess master lost 3 straight high seeds with a bye week at home. He lost 3 of those.
Yes.
And I was saying he's regular season Peyton, but he's not playoff Peyton.
I just go by results. First, to me, it always looked to me like Brady had a stronger arm.
And the thing that made me start thinking Brady was a GOAT, because I've been on the man, look at Peyton Manning doing all he's doing. And then Brady, with the first 3 rings, and it was like a lot of the defense and all that. When I started thinking Brady might be the GOAT, Ephraim, was when Randy Moss joined the team. And he put up those incredible numbers with Moss. And I started thinking, my goodness, give him a world-class receiver, and this is what he does? Because, he had won those 3 Super Bowls with just average receivers.
With you and me.
Right. So he's got the numbers to go along with the Super Bowl rings. That's what makes him the GOAT.
All I know is that Brady has won 7 Super Bowls, but the first 6 came with game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. That's not Peyton. That's Brady. That's what Brady did.
But at a certain point, you achieve so much that it's just like we gotta give dude his props.
We gotta give it to him. He's 7 Super Bowls.
Right.
Who's gonna do that? When we gonna see that again?
I mean, he's got more than any franchise.
And honestly,
any franchise.
Do you know what has to happen for someone to do that? Like Patrick Mahomes, who out the gate, everybody was like, oh, he's the one.
Yeah.
Right? He's the one.
I've said that myself.
He would have to go on a hell of a run right now. Right? He would have to go on a hell of a run. Patrick Mahomes has 1. He needs 6 more years.
6 more.
Everything has to go right. You got to have a defense. You need a receiver. You need this. You need all of those things for 6 more years for him to just tie Brady.
It's different when you just have 2-3 days to prepare for an opponent, and then the coaches are already kind of halfway preparing for the next opponent in the middle of that week. In the playoffs, late in the season, it's all hands on deck to win that one game. So defenses are going to throw their best. They're going to throw all the different looks. They're going to take away the things and try to make you beat you left-handed.
There was a difference between regular season Peyton and playoff Peyton. And Tom Brady, if anything, got better in the playoffs, and people always like to point to Belichick. And what I'm saying is when Brady has now won in Tampa, now it's harder to point to Belichick and give him the credit. Wouldn't that put Brady over Peyton?
I don't care who's calling the plays because Brady runs a lot of option route plays to his slot receiver.
Right.
He's audibling to a whole lot of plays. He probably didn't completely control the offense, to your point, the way Peyton always controlled the offense. But he's 7-3 in Super Bowl games. And if you look at the 3 losses, the first one came after he drove them to a touchdown that made it 14-10 over Eli with 2 minutes left, and Belichick's defense allowed a 75-yard drive for not a field goal, but for a touchdown to win the game. And then I'll give you the second Eli. That wasn't Brady's most shining moment, but in that Super Bowl loss to the Eagles and their backup quarterback, Brady threw for an all-time playoff record that still stands of 505 yards, put up 33, and they lost 41-33. That's on Belichick.
The knock on Peyton, as you know, is the playoffs. Now, the numbers and the losses, I mean, he's 14-13 overall. Until he got to Denver, he was under 500. His second Super Bowl ring came when, he wasn't really the man, right? The defense did it, and he was struggling. He had some phenomenal seasons in Denver, but they didn't win the Super Bowl those years. What do you make of that? Because it looks like you talked about sphincters tightening and all that. I don't know if his did, but it looked something. How do you explain that? Interception ratio goes way up in the playoffs. Obviously, he lost almost as much as he won in the playoffs. I mean, that is something I think you got to look at too.
Well, you have to look at it.
Peyton is 2-2 in Super Bowls, but the last one to get him to 2 was courtesy of Von Miller and one of the great defenses I've ever seen that really destroyed Cam Newton, the MVP, in that Super Bowl. But Cam's QBR in that game was 32, which is not very good, but it's way better than 8.6, which was Peyton's QBR in that game because he was just atrocious. 13-23 for 141 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick. And he fumbled twice and lost one of those fumbles, and he got sacked 5 times. I mean, he was shell of self at that point, going along for the ride, just trying to game manage for a really good defense.
But Brady did it kind of differently. He would kind of, fuck you over with personnel. He may have 13 in a huddle or 22 in a huddle and then come out in an empty set. And he would change the tempo a lot. He'll get to the line of scrimmage quick sometimes. Sometimes he'll get there and adjust.
What happened when Peyton faced Drew Brees after Peyton had won his first Super Bowl against Rex Grossman? You got to disqualify some of it. Rex Grossman was the opposing starting quarterback. Then he bounces back. Super Bowl. Yeah, okay, he won that, and then he returns to play Drew Brees. Yeah. And the Saints are up 24-17, and here comes the chess master. He is driving with 3:24 left. He faces a 3rd and 5 all the way down at New Orleans' 31-yard line.
They came with a bomb blitz. They came with a zero blitz and up inside.
And what happened to the chess master?
Tracy Porter picked it. He's sitting on it. He know the under is coming.
Was he? Could we see?
Yeah, I'm telling you what.
Could we? Wait.
Yeah.
3rd and 5. Chess master says, I got this. Wait a minute. Tracy's got this. And Tracy Porter is off to the races, 74 yards. And the game is over thanks to the chess master playing indomitable chess. Boy, I bet Tracy was losing sleep the night before.
Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe as I post a new Tom Brady video every day.